Hey everybody, how you doing? This is TruePowerIsMine, and this is TPIM. That's our live. Today's date, May 26, 2019. Dare I say the year of our Lord. Everybody, it's going to probably be an interesting Tuesday morning when the markets open up. For a lot of folks out there, they don't realize the major concerns. And I have a major concern. Let's, hold on. I'm going to move that right there. Let's play the clip. And I'll be breaking it down as this clip is playing. Once I get everything together here to play the clip. Alrighty.
China. Last Friday, President Trump raised tariffs to 25% on nearly 6,000 categories of products from China. Tonight, three correspondents look at...
Peace, Brother Bishop. Let's take a minute to really break this down. You know, for a lot of households right now, money's kind of tight. So we're going to mix that with having an artificial raise in prices from all goods and services originating out of China. This report is very provocative. We're just in the very beginning of it. But when we get on to other parts of it, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And remember, this area right here is a disputed area, and China needs this area as a buffer from our Pacific fleet.
At this from different perspectives in the U.S. and in China.
This is Ramy Inocencio in Beijing, where the escalating trade tensions are spilling over into state media, from commentary on TV vowing to fight, to propaganda on social media taunting the U.S. to bring it on. The message is clear. Beijing is ready to push back, and China's citizens are picking it up.
Do you think Beijing should push back against Washington, D.C.?
As President Xi and Chairman Mao said, you can't have lasting peace without war.
You see the game they're playing? CBS here. You see how they send in the little guy that looks like Chinese national so the people will open up. The man just said, "What's up, Brother Bird?" The man just said what the chairman said, you can't have lasting peace without war. Yes, they are actors. Thank you, Bishop. But the play they're crafting is one that would perpetuate fear, anger, and hate. Just remember this.
We feel America is a bully.
All of this a reaction to the increased tariffs on $200 billion in goods the Chinese ship to the U.S. Victor Gao is an expert on international relations in Beijing.
To what degree can Washington, D.C. hold down Beijing?
No one in the world can really launch a trade war against China and win that trade war.
A reminder, there will be pain on both sides.
I'm Dean Reynolds in Elkhart, Indiana.
Does the president understand tariffs?
I'm thinking he does.
Businessman Tom Irons says the pain from tariffs is getting worse by the day.
President Trump, we support him, but this idea of tariffs being paid by the Chinese government is something that I don't quite understand.
Irons' firm, ASA Electronics, manufactures systems for pleasure boats, RVs, and commercial vehicles. 110 workers here assemble the parts made by 2,000 contract employees in China. It's a $100 million business. If the president makes good on his threat to further expand tariffs on Chinese imports, the price of one of Irons' premium systems could increase by $1,000.
Now, that's just one little system. And I already told you guys in past shows that the Chinese are purposefully sending defective parts, especially for our planes and military vehicles. If this war goes hot, we are at a vast disadvantage, folks. But nobody wants to talk about that. We just want to keep on waving the flag as if we're invulnerable to the reality that we have been outmaneuvered. I would say we have been betrayed by our leaders, but the average person would say we've been outmaneuvered. And I say we because when the bomb starts flying, dude, they ain't going to care about our little internal problems. Not at all. Always fear and scarcity. That's why we should be relying on ourselves and kind. Absolutely, Bishop. That's why the hub is so important. I mean, if we don't want to go down the road of utter destruction, brothers and sisters, then we have to go down the road of unity and using our skill sets to benefit our collective good. If not, brothers, we might as well just send up the white flag and say we surrender. Let's continue on with this deal, and then we're going to jump into some news real quick.
And the people who will pay are his customers. The trade war has created something businessmen just hate.
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty.
I'm Jonathan Migliotti in Southern California, where that uncertainty is also threatening common household products, like those at Spears TV, family-owned for nearly 3 generations.
I walk into your shop and I say, show me your U.S.-made televisions. Which ones would you show me?
You gotta have to go back 20 years or 30 years. There is no more U.S.-made TVs anymore.
Alan Harikian runs his sales and repair shop with his father.
So these tariffs could hit your bottom line here.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
In fact, the tariff on all Chinese goods could cost the average family of 4 up to $2,300 a year. Those higher costs could mean a shift in how Harikian does business.
Well, you have to try to do other things, I guess. Try, installation.
I said it's going to be a celebration. Just didn't never tell you who's going to be celebrating. Look, guys, yet again, America, you almost got to look at it, the United States being attacked on 2 fronts already, cyber and socially. It's not by chance these feminist groups, these radical groups, are funded by clandestine organizations with the purpose of evoking fear and division in the populace, with the purpose of making us ununified. Now, some brothers and sisters will welcome this because they want the nation to burn. Others who are not prepared don't know what to think. And then there's others like me who want to see us prosper. All of us. I want to see us prosper. We've been beaten down enough. It's time that we wake up and rise up with one voice and say no more. I'm going to go right to it. The story right here. FBI reveals 40 MLK affairs. Michael King, better known as Dr. Martin Luther King, like any man who attains real power, real influence, the ladies start throwing that thing at him. And you already know he was a preacher that smoked cigarette. And the only reason why I say this is for all the ancient leaders or the past leader glory hound. Every damn leader you think you don't know who they really were. You don't know what type of people they really, really were. Now, you understand the guy on the stage, and you might relate to the guy on the stage. But the guy that is off the stage, radically different person. That's the reason why he couldn't say everything he needed to say. It's because they had this over him. They give us our leader. You got that right, Tony, brother. You got that right. And that's why this internet thing is so damaging. You know good and well, I would never have a voice on regular radio or regular TV, they would shut this down. As soon as they hear the first words coming out of my mouth, they'll be like, no. I mean, you already see how YouTube fucking tramples my live stream as it is. So what's really going down? I'll tell you what's really going down. We're being closed out, yeah. You haven't got your pink slips yet. But don't worry. One day you're going to try to report to work, and those doors going to be chained shut. You're going to walk around back. There's going to be a guard with a dog telling you to get the hell off the premise. And that's going to be that. And if you haven't stocked up on the essentials, iodine, I would say water. I would say charcoal and surgical masks for impromptu gas masks if you don't have a proper one. And I would also say you need to try to buy some sort of little solar power unit. You know, they got them out there for $40, $50. It comes with a light typically. You're going to need easy strike matches or any strike matches. Strike them against anything they light up. If you know how to make fire from getting a little bit of tinder together and hitting it with a spark, you can get those Forever Light matches. I suggest you seriously invest in like 20 to 30 of those fold up thermal. They're like little plastic foil blankets, rope, duct tape. That's the bare minimum, yeah. A hunting knife, perhaps even a machete, a sword, axe, spear, some sort of weapon for personal defense and hunting. Because it's going to get a little medieval for a second. I wish tonight would have been the night I would have showed you Brother T's video with all the devastation. But you can look up any video with devastation. It wouldn't be a surprise if they killed the power grid to keep everyone's money that's in the bank because ATMs and debit won't work. Psh, you're on it, Brother Bert. You're on it tonight. You know, that's exactly what it's going to be. And guess what? The bankers don't show up to work, y'all. We have right now so many conflicts going on. Some known, some unknown. You know, y'all, the war with the intelligence community is still raging on. Don't look to be any end in sight. Looks like tornadic activities on the rise. Hold on, let me try to get all that in frame. You know, here's the deal. And I really want this to be crystal clear. I don't care if you don't believe in conspiracies. I don't care if you don't believe in clandestine entities, not necessarily government agencies, but entities within the agencies working in concert across nations, across boundaries for a common good. Welcome, Shirley. Obama weaponized all intel. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say he consciously did it, but that basically did kind of occur during him and President Bush's last term. Remember when President Bush last term, the sons, they came out with, and they opened it up. They always had it, by the way, but the continuity of government concept in this states that basically there's already a shadow government right now. This. Hold on. Let's go to Google. If you have your Googles, follow me, please. Continuity of government. Continuity of government, or COG, It's the principle of establishing defined procedures that allows a government to continue its essential operations in case of a catastrophic event such as nuclear war. It's right there. I'm going to post this link in the chat room. You can follow me. Let me ask Google a real question. When did the United States develop a continuity of government plan?
September 11, 2001. According to Wikipedia, the continuity plan was activated for the first time during the September 11, 2001 attacks.
That means, so it's not going to give me the actual answer. Because that would already imply there was the plan, it was already there. So that's prior to the Patriot Act. Federal continuity. Damn, continuity of operation. Cool. Is the United States federal initiative required by U.S. Presidential Policy Directive 40, PPD 40, to ensure that agencies are able to continue performance of essential functions under a broad range of circumstances. Obama was the first president that campaigned for a candidate, and he is the first former president to live close to the White House. Interesting. Well, you know, Shirley, around here, Obama's no hero. Let's just put it that way. He's no hero unless you're a homosex, and then I guess he is your dear leader. But for us normals, he was a guy that kind of slithered into the position. Totally, he's one of these guys, Shirley, that's like, hey, girl, I'll fix you up, I'll help you out. And then as soon as you give him the chance, he's more brutal than just nothing. I mean, seriously. We have to understand that this is just a big gag. It's just a big game. None of these state actors mean what they say. Don't forget, they all got bomb shelters. And some of them may even elevate or ascend to the shadow government positions. So we need to understand, Hillary and Trump are cousins. Yes, Anthony. This is a bloodline thing, y'all, and you're not in the family. Please hear me, brothers and sisters. You're not in the family. But you are in the family of God. Family of the Most High. Now, a lot of folks out there have lost faith and belief. And it should be apparent how many people have lost faith and belief because of the world in which is rapidly becoming non-secular and rapidly becoming tyrannical at the same time. People aren't going to talk about the correlation between losing God and losing your true freedom. Losing God and losing your peace in your heart. Now, many of us, and I've already received reports, emails and whatnot. I'll show you. Well, not the emails, but I'll show you the deal here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. 22,931 emails sent in my account with new ones ready to be read. All right. I'm getting information from all over the doggone place. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, y'all. Keep sending me that email. I do sincerely try to follow up and look at, review, take your suggestions, and actually run with them and incorporate them into shows immediately. All of my best shows, honestly, have come from listeners' participation and listener suggestions. You guys like Dr. Randy Short? Well, you need to thank a listener. You like Dr. Neely Jr. Fuller? You need to thank a listener. You like Jane Elliott? You need to thank a listener. You like Mark from Anaheim? You need to thank a listener. And the list goes on and on and on. You like Judge Joe Brown? You better thank a listener. Because all these people sent me this sincerely, and I took their message and ran with it. This is the People's Show. This is where our voice is heard, at least amongst ourselves. And hopefully it will energize each other to get out here and do what we got to do to make this happen. And this is the hub. And if you like the idea of the hub, you better thank a listener, T. Will. We are connected, y'all. Quite ironic, Obama picked Biden as his VP. He wrote crime bills and was on the Senate floor promoting Obama never cared about black folks. Yes, Shirley. It's good that you're finally awake. And hopefully when you go about your day, you will share this with others. And don't go getting it twisted. A lot of folks don't care about us. A lot of folks, by design, do not care about us. You know why? Because many of us don't care enough about us. Peace, Coach Abdullah. Welcome to the show. Welcome, brother. The reason why it's so effective of a ploy to turn brothers and sisters against each other based upon whatever division you want to speak on is because it's helping our enemies, our collective enemies, and we do have some, believe it or not, get emboldened and unify. Think about it right now. What division do you think we could foster in Russia or China? Could we not play on the Russians' xenophobic nature? Or do they even have a xenophobic nature? Is Russia similar to the United States as far as a cultural melting pot of the old world? We need to ponder these questions and implement them if the answer is correct. What's up, Brother Leonard? Welcome to the show. Now, one thing I want to go on the record and say, the thing that's going to come down in the next few, we have been warning and warning and warning people about. Hold on, let's ask Google a question. The nuclear clock. Hold on. Doomsday Clock 2019. I don't want to click on the ads. I don't want to consent. Look at that, yeah. Look at that. Hopefully you can see it. This damn thing. Hold on. You take a look at that clock, yeah. This thing is designed by people. Well, hello, dear. Welcome to the show. by people who understand the geopolitical movements of the whole world. Back in the day, it used to be over in this general area. We're basically one click from kaboom boom. Now we can keep on playing around, or we can really address this issue. Honestly, I believe it's too late. I know I've been accused of being a buzzkill before. But we got to see that there is a generations to come. And they need a planet that's not totally irradiated. Our intel had assassinated JFK, MLK, RFK, Malcolm, and John Lennon. And don't forget the hundreds of thousands of other folks. Hundreds of thousands of other folks called up. Yes. John Birch Society, JBS. You know, hold on, I want to go one other place. Because I want you guys to really understand what's really cracking here. U.S. debt clock. I really should just bookmark this page. I want you guys to see you paid for this, right? You really did. You really did pay for that. This $22 trillion paid for all the research and development that the Chinese stole and will soon use against us. By the way, all you taxpayers, for those who care to know where you accept this fact or not, you owe the U.S. government $181,646, each and every last one of you. Every citizen, whether you're a boy, girl, transgender, hermaphrodite, old, rich, poor, strong, weak, doesn't matter. Each and every U.S. citizen owes $67,853. Now, of those illegal aliens, how much are they going to pay of this national debt? You see how this is really ballooning up and it's never going to be stopped? Think about that for 1 second, y'all. A legal family comes into the country, they get food stamps, they get Section 8, they get insurance. How much do they owe? Or are you just going to flip the bill, Sister Sherry? Are you going to flip the bill, Miss TruePowerIsMine? Are you going to flip the bill, Brother Anthony? Are you going to flip the bill, Brother Bird? And what Bird just said is so true. China pretty much owns Africa. Lock, stock, and smoking barrel. You know the reason why? Many nations in Kemet are trapped. They're trapped between the colonizers, IMF, or the new colonizers, China. Don't forget, many European powers still require tribute of African nations, meaning they have to send them money. You got to understand, this is neo-feudalism. We just don't see it yet, but it's neo-feudalism time. Mixed in with a little transhumanist and biological augmentation by computers and hydraulic systems, basically. Here soon, I don't know exactly when, but I'm going to do a show where we go deep into advanced technology with military applications. So you really get a sense of what you're really up against. Because I really believe in that a lot of people are still thinking they're up against a Vietnam type scenario where you could hide out in a little sewer ditch and take a couple pop shots. They got acoustic systems that as soon as your gun fires the round, it can detect where you shot from and send back counterfire. Oh gosh, people, I wish you really understood how screwed this planet is. We are basically, because of our lack of spirituality, doomed. There's too many people with too much money, too much power, too much tech. And don't forget, just like Ferguson, when the war comes to the United States, it will be no holds barred. So all the talk about, well, those pistols work good in Iraq and does not apply. Iran and Iraq, Vietnam, Grenada, all these military, expeditions that we have participated in were all done with restraint. We have not seen unrestrained war since World War II. And we certainly haven't seen it on this continent. The last time was the Civil War. And what I mean by unrestrained war is true war, people. Where women, children, dogs, cats, houses, anything and everything will be utterly annihilated. So keep on playing your game. Keep on going to your parties. Keep on chasing women and men down the way. Just keep on, enjoying your life. Because these things will not and should not be stopped. And I see that now. Sort of like the Endgame movie. You know, when Doctor Strange was all like, there's only one way, Tony. There's only one way. And there's only one way for us as well. But no one's heeding the word. No one wants to believe in unity. No one wants to believe in freedom and liberty for all. No one wants to believe in the promise of the United States being fulfilled for all people. No one wants to believe in that. Even though it is a proven fact that even the bottom of the barrel in the United States live better than the vast majority of humans on this planet. As far as technology and the actual living conditions, they are actually, even a homeless person in Manhattan, New York, in some respects, it's better off than a person living, let's say, in Athens, Greece right now. Because they're going through a little thing called austerity. That's when the IMF imposes the privatization of all your nation's resources. So in other words, that water up underneath the ground, that belongs to Corporation C. All the timber in the woods, that belongs to Corporation B. And all the ore up in the hills, that belongs to Corporation C. And so on and so on. All of you people in this room are rational human beings. You really are. You look at the debt clock. Look at it for real. This is not fake. This is not fake news. This is the reality. You look at that and you ask yourself, if someone owed you that kind of money, how long will it be before you say, hey, I want my money? Yes, Brother Abdullah, austerity is being implemented because this is a failed system. All the fiat currency, where we're talking about rubles, where we're talking about francs, Deutschmarks, quids, pounds, euros, dollars. It doesn't matter. They're all tied into the same bogus scam. The banker gives you a note, you forfeit on being able to pay the note, and the banker gets the land. And he sells it to another sucker. Jeffrey Boson, whatever, has too much power. For 4 years ago, Amazon was not making a profit, and now he has a $600 million contract with the CIA, also with the Pentagon, and bought the Washington Post. Now he is a billionaire. What, you think they only do that for Martin Luther King? Set up leaders? You only think that's just for black folks, do you? Because it's not. We don't call white folks in those positions white leaders, but that's essentially what they are. It should be apparent now, Shirley, and everybody else in this chat room. You only get to the top of the fucking hill by the lift. And the lift is controlled by the groups, whether it be the Greeks, the Messianics, the religious, or the secretive. They control the lift. Now, you can try to march your ass up the hill, but you're not going to make it. And it's designed that way for you not to make it. We got to understand, this thing has been going down for a hot minute, where you have these super wealthy individuals that consolidate power so that everyone's looking at them. But they are being controlled by people. Trust me, Jeff Bezos's money can be took from him that quick. Let's ask Google another question. This is what I like about Google. You can ask it things and it will respond. Who is the richest man in the world?
I found 7 on the Week UK. Here are the first 3. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Bernard Arnault.
Now, right now, Bert is correct. Jeff Bezos. I got the facts and figure because just in case, I really, seriously, guys, if you're, interested in learning how the mind kind of works, please check out Brother Bird's YouTube channel. He has some very, very interesting and well-articulate videos pertaining to that subject. But it's always nice to have the facts and figures up here. So we got Jeff with 131 billion. We got Eugenics Bill with 96. We got Pandering Warren with 82, and these are all billions. And then Carlos, and then a few others. Mark Zuckerberg, 60. That's kind of sad that Facebook is kind of the poor boy on the block. He's a person who knows, but about the people he never heard about, like those who keep their money in private equity firms, and they never get on the Forbes list. Oh my gosh. Are you talking about the Queen of England? Watch this. And I'm telling you. How much money does the Queen of England make every day? If they tell us this. Most people make money from their day jobs, sovereignties, are granted. How rich? Okay, hold on. Because I remember Brother Dick Gregory saying she makes like 300 million every 24-hour cycle. Now these are all, the Queen is, she's poor. The Queen is down there. She's only got 370 million. Now that might just be in her personal account. But don't forget, the chick owns Australia. The chick owns Canada. The chick owns any of the UK territories around the world. She has property in the Caribbean. She has property in Kemet. She has property, well, used to have property in China called Hong Kong. But I think she gave that back. So obviously they're not going to really show us they're not going to show, unless we really get into this, and I don't feel like going into some paperwork. I'll do it off camera and just bring you guys what I find. But look at them. That's who George W. Bush people is related to. But he is their foot dog. They send those people out to ensure, like little governors and regions and all that. It's still just the whole game, man. You think you ran away from the crown, but you haven't. It's still the same game. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about. We will never know how much money they really have. They got too much to count. Exactly. But it's good that the people are getting these thoughts in their heads so that they will research themselves. That's what this show is about. Go and research this stuff yourself to see what we say is true or not. I am only human. I am subject to make errors, and I have made many errors. But I sincerely try to bring something to the table that is thought-provoking and get you to think about what can you do. What can you do to either enrich the situation, or what can you do to subtract from the situation? Because really, guys, that's our only role. You're never going to be the king. You're never going to be the queen. You're never going to be the emperor. You're never going to be the empress. You can be one of their goons. You can rise up to be some sort of captain of the guard or something. But you're never going to be one of them because you're not one of them. And they will never allow you or accept you as one of them. All right, so I want to show you the family. Look at them. The only reason why they brought in this chick, they literally need new blood because that blood's been circulated too long. That's why you cut them with a little butter knife and they bleed out. They bleed to death. Now, she does look like a sweet old lady. I will give her that. She looks like a sweet little old lady. Would you like some tea and crumpets, young man? But don't forget, she puts people in the dirt. She can just give a head nod and your ass is up in the dirt. So play with her if you want to. I give the woman respect because I really don't want her goons, to come and collect me and my things. Because these people are no joke. You mess with that money and you mess with that power, she's going to go from smiling, would you like some crumpets, to off with your head in the doggone tower. That's a very provocative picture. This is Jamaica. She looks like a damn demon. Brother Leonard, shh, the show's being monitored. Will you stop, Leonard? Stop. I can neither confirm nor deny the last statement of Brother Leonard. For those who have done advanced research, you know that that consuming of people does often take place in these families. So I don't know what she looked like. Hold on. Let's see what she looked like when she was young. Because I don't know what she looked like when she was young. The Queen of England when she was young. She doesn't smile too much, huh? Because she was going through that war. But she's, those bloodline marriages don't work over time. That's the history of the kings and queens of Europe. She was not cute. She actually looks a little more appealing now that she's older, in a way. At least maybe that's because she's all smiling like, yes, I made it. I killed all my rivals. You know, I don't know. But when she was younger, yeah, she doesn't have she's not very pleasant on the eyes. Let's just say it like that. And I think that's tasteful because that's subjective. You know, to some people, she could be totally hot. Like, oh my God, you know, oh my God. But I had to read this, you know, so no one can accuse me of suppressing information. But brother says she's hideous. Sister Gloria, hot. Like what? You know, these are the people who rule the world. It's been said, even reporters are reported their company feeds the people to the people. Oh, Brother Bishop. That's a horrible rabbit hole to go. I don't think that's a rabbit hole he wants to go down today. Hold on. Check this out. Check this out. Pedophilia scandal rocks UK government. Hold on. Let's go to the. I want you guys to see the articles. And once again, this isn't a million years ago. Child sexual abuse in the UK. Now, some of those children, I'm sure were just raped or whatever, maybe set free. But some of those children, I would imagine, were beaten within an inch of their lives. So all that fear juice will be in the base of their skull. And then they'll take a syringe, pierce the base of the skull, extract that juice, and inject it into themselves and get a high that they say is like no other. And the only way to get this, you can't synthetically make it. It has to be done in that particular way. This is a horrible, horrible state of being that the leaders, not of our country, but it is an allied country, an allied nation to the corporation of the United States of America, the corporation of Great Britain. Yes, Endurochrome. Endurochrome. And you can get it out of adults, but we all know that's easier to get children to be, put children in the fear state. That's why they like for many adults to be in childlike arrested developed minds, because fear works on them. Fear is a great motivator. Oh, you're not going to do that because you're scared of the punishment. Pretty simple. But child sexual abuse in the UK has been reported in the countries through its child sexual abuse ring in numerous towns and cities across the UK. So I'm going to have to actually open up. Fear is their drug and their weapon, brother. Bishop, it is their weapon of choice. Okay. Sexual abuse in the United Kingdom has been reported in the countries throughout its history. In about 90% of the cases, the abuser is a person known to the child. However, cases during the second half of the 20th century involved religious institutions, schools, popular entertainers, politicians, military personnel. Yes, I've heard of a few of their generals being involved in rear avenues as well. And other officials have been revealed and widely published since the beginning of the 20th century. Child sex abuse rings in numerous towns and cities across the UK have also drawn considerable attention. We have to understand, y'all, these are just the things reported. As we all should know, many things don't go reported, but they are true. I don't know what the body count is right now of how many people have been blasted by the police since the last show. I know it's more than one, and I know it's less than 1 billion. But I do know the only way that will stop is if us common people say no more in one voice. I wish the common masses could get around black folks' issues like they get around gay issues or Jewish issues or any other issues. We're being gunned down at a disproportionate rate. And like Bubba Dick Gregory said, let's find out that nappy hair is the cure for cancer and see how they'll be treating people then. If they found out that you take naps, you ground them up, you inject them, that cures cancer, just see how you would be treated then. So we better get with it, man. There's a reason why we're here on this earth, Brother Leonard. And it's not to be victimized. It's not to be oppressed. It's not to be shot. It's not to be pimped out. It's not to be unmoral. It's not to be anti-God. It's not to be pro-abortion. It's not to be just degenerates. It's supposed to be upright people. People who can show the world another way of living. Show the world peace. But without power, there can be no peace. All of a sudden, they'll be like, hey, brother. Yeah, as they had those scissors behind their hand, they're going to take a swath off your hand. We are a light for the world. The world's blind now, but we are the light for the world. And if we continue to be snuffed out, pinched out, water poured over us, the world will be poor for our absence. The way it's going now, brothers and sisters, the eugenics plan is going right on schedule. We're slated for deletion, collectively. If you haven't heard yet, by 2050, we will not have any wealth. Where are we meant to be the American gypsies? This traveling around in caravans? We have to work together, sister. We have to work together. We have to get over it. We have to get over our little hymn picking of one another. We have to get over our hatred for one another, our envy of one another. And once we unite, then we have to work. We have to build. If we build nothing, then guess what? There will be nothing to be remembered by or for. If we sit and expect people to somehow put a hand out so that we can do something, it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. And the only handout that was handed was the hand with an axe to split up the family, to ensure that men and women cannot be in the same household raising the babies. We have to understand what the wife said about Malcolm. That man was too powerful. They said that in the movie. But don't be shocked. And I don't want to Rudy Putin no one's image of the ancestors. But as more and more information comes out, don't be shocked that every last one of our known leaders was in some way, somehow subverted by the system, meaning that there was some sort of information to keep them ultimately in line. Now, some could have more rope or less rope to run with, but the rope all went back to the same hand. You better keep that and understand that. And I believe that will save you a lot of mental grief and sorrow. Brother Leonard broke it down. I want to let's go here. No, we got to drop the clock. We already know country's broke as hell, and we owe a lot of money. Check this out. Is it possible to be a political leader in the United States of America without being corrupted? I'm shocked Google didn't say no. It's natural to think of election when you think of political corruption. 3 Romanians, blah, blah, blah. America is not a democracy. How the United States lost the face of its citizens and what it can do to win them back. Yeah, well, how about this actually taking off some of the laws and allowing people to live free? That'd be a great start. Hold on. Ugh. Hold on 1 second, yeah. I was trying to find this piece of paper. I had a conversation. Hold on. Does this have it? It would be perfect. 1965, Catholic permits Jews to end priesthood. Let's do that. (1965) Catholics allowed Jews into priesthood. Relationships. Hold on. Wow. And I'm going to cite the source. I got this from Mark from Anaheim. So for those, okay. A movement of Jews converted to the faith of the Catholic Church and Catholics of non-Jewish origins who choose to keep Masonic traditions in light of Catholic doctrines. These phases was coined by Ellis Freeman, who was himself a converted Jew. Hebrew Catholics subscribes to the doctrine of the Catholic faith that are the full communion with the Bishop of Rome, the Pope. Their point of difference lies not in dogmatic beliefs, but in liturgical practice. So in other words, what I'm gathering from here, this is just a power unite. And I'm sure through this little cabal, that's where the Zionists got their information and started steamrolling. What else was going on in 1965? Hold on. This is going to be very important. John Birch Society, 1965. Uh-oh. Let's hear what they got to say from the man himself. Okay, come on, let's go.
But let's put down a few point-by-point comparisons of the society with its communist enemies. 1. The communists seek unlimited power for themselves over the whole human race.
And the capitalist seeks unlimited profits for him or herself over the entire human race. I want you guys to see everything he says. I'm going to bring back the counter so that this propaganda isn't unchallenged. All right?
The John Birch Society does not want any power at all over anybody, either now or in the future.
That is a lie. John Birch Society is real throughout Eric Trump's administration, and they absolutely are seizing power. Gonna make America great again.
Agreeing with Lord Acton that power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
So they already know that once they obtain absolute power, they will be absolutely corrupted. So there will be no shock, Yao. You've been warned. Let's listen.
The society seeks to make progress towards its goals only by education and persuasion.
It's the persuasion bit you need to worry about. The education is books. Persuasion is hands-on.
2, the communists believe that any means may be used to attain their ends.
And the capitalist believes any means to obtain the resources to manufacture. Yes, Brother Bishop, the same thing.
The society believes that improper means are never justified by even the noblest of aims, and that means are as important as ends in any worthwhile civilization. 3, the communists always accuse their enemies, such as the John Birch Society, of exactly those crimes which the communists themselves are committing. We do not bear false witness against anybody about anything.
Okay, Coach Abdullah. Malcolm and Martin's families were targeted for years. Their fathers were both assassinated. Both families have been targeted. Even his grandson was framed as a child and then assassinated. And don't forget what, hold on. Remember what he says? They don't use amoral. What John Birch Society post built, hold on. John Birch Society billboard, Martin Luther King. I want you guys to see their billboard for Dr. King. So I want you to understand these people were highly segregationalists. And in their mind, there ain't shit wrong with that. Martin Luther King at Communist Training School or public government school. Oh, and there were worse signs as well. What's this? Save our Republic. Join the John Birch Society, right? And this looks like another John Birch Society meeting. All right. So keep playing your games. Keep not paying attention. And history will repeat itself. Except for this time, you don't have to worry about going to Dachau.
Four, the communists believe that words should be used to conceal thoughts and that promises are made to be broken. The John Birch Society believes that simple truth is the very core of morality, and that when we can persuade enough people to make truth the prerequisite to all statements and the accepted guide to all actions, at least half of the world's problems will rapidly disappear. 5, the communists operate in secrecy and darkness.
Hold on. Before I break down what Coach Abdullah says, check this out. Martin was Boule, and he violated the oath. Jesse Jackson was playing B, but he couldn't pull it off. You see what I'm saying? There's that persuasion. You know it, brother Bishop. What old boy's talking about on the video here. It's actually noble and righteous. But that's the serpent in the mist speaking half-truths. Sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan, why did you lie to me and say that Vader killed my daddy? Obi-Wan Kenobi, you see, Luke, from a certain point of view, Vader did seduce your father by the dark side and destroyed Anakin. It's all just a point of view.
We follow the preponderant custom among all American voluntary associations of not publishing the list of our members. With that exception, the John Birch Society has absolutely no secrets of any kind. 6, the communists seek to break down all morality, all tradition, and to destroy the whole spiritual and aesthetic sense of values which we have inherited.
And here's those values, yeah. There's the values in his mind. Because this is the type of guy, if you was to roll up on this old boy and say, hey, look, homie, you know Jesus was melanated, he would probably slit your throat right there on the spot. The hell you say? Because he's letting you know he inherited this. What did he inherit? Well, the fruits of oppression. The fruits of white supremacy. The fruits of years of free labor. That's what he inherited, and that's what he intends to maintain. That's why he is indeed a conservative. He's trying to conserve the plunder and the booty. That's what this game's all about. That's what it's always been about. We got your donut, and you're not going to get it back. And not only do they got the donut, they got the land the grain's grown on. They got the land the furnace is on. They got the land that you roll out the dough in. Come on, man. Let's just get real for a minute.
The society believes that a reverent continuity in human affairs is of extreme importance, and that even the most desirable change should be made cautiously in order to be sure that it constitutes improvement. 7, the communists believe that man is just a material combination of atoms with no other purpose than satisfaction of the desires of the physical entity thus assembled. The John Birch Society believes that a divine creator has endowed man with a purpose and an upward reach which are far superior to and frequently prompt a willing sacrifice of the desires and needs of the individual himself.
Now, once again, I'm not going to argue that fact. Well, but see, this is where the truth and fiction collide. Coach Abdullah, Nation of Islam, John Ali, FBI, W.D. Muhammad, FBI, Eugene Roberts, boss, FBI, then CIA, damn, Black Panther, and several members in Mosque number 7 all around Malcolm X. And for those who are reading along in the chat room, please be advised that Brother Abdullah does not post comments that are not thoroughly researched prior. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have to research his comments, but basically, you might as well take them for gold. Go ahead and research it. I guarantee you're going to find it to be 100% on. That brother has a lot of knowledge. Not just fitness, but I'm talking about a lot of knowledge, period. All right, let's continue.
8, the communists, Lenin, Lunacharsky, many others, openly preach that men must learn to hate, and that only through spreading sufficient hatred can the communists succeed in ruling the world.
Now you think about what's going on. Check this out. Check this out. Russia vows to ferment racial hatred to divide the United States. Hold on. Anti-Russian built on racism. U.S. anti-Russian sentiment. This was no. Hold on. Let me put 2019. Wow. Here, I'm going to copy. I want to share this link with y'all in the chat room. Oh, shit. It's too long. Hold on. That might be enough. I just need two more. There, got it. Hopefully that'll send you to where I went to. Now, this is coming from the Washington Times. Oh, no, they're just talking about, damn it. They're talking about actual arms race. Never mind. I remembered I was watching an article, or reading an article rather, and it was talking about Russia's vows to basically foment racial hatred in the United States to divide us.
The John Birch Society hates nobody, not even the communists, but only the evil which they do. The society believes that love for one's neighbor and goodwill towards all men should be a fundamental motivation in all human relationships. We have summarized the differences between the communist program and our own in the following paragraph. We must oppose secrecy with open-handedness. We must publish to the world our beliefs, our purposes, and our methods as fully as the collectivists conceal and disguise their own. We must oppose conspiracy not with counter-conspiracy, but with exposure, justice, and education. We must oppose falsehoods with truth, blasphemy with reverence, foul means with good means, immorality and amorality with more spiritual faith and dedication, rootlessness and chaos with tradition and stability, relativity with absolutes, pragmatism with deeper purposes, hedonism with a more responsible pursuit of happiness, cruelty with compassion, and hatred with love.
Oh, God, this guy. Now, Brother Bishop, I just want to clarify that. Constitutional, like Judge said, Judge Joe Brown, they put that in there for purposes of calculating voting districts. Basically, each plantation owner was a super delegate. That's how many votes he could cast, how many slaves. So, in essence, we weren't really 3/5 of a human being. We were really nothing. I mean, as far as the document, the only reason why they put the 3/5 in there is pertaining to the voting power of the person that literally owned the human beings as slaves. I know it's really fucked up. It really is. And here we go with this guy. YouTube pops him up.
Any overview of birds reveals remarkable facts. Nearly every kind builds its nest differently. Courtship behavior, sexual roles, and reproductive activity vary among almost every species. In one bird, females gather food while males tend the eggs. And when did the sexes diverge for birds or any other animal? Even some plants are male and female. How did this happen?
That's funny, but
There are a number of videos that adequately explain the evolution of sex. I don't have time to go into it in depth, but in brief, sexual reproduction occurred before there were plants or animals. It began as one of a few forms of horizontal gene transfer, commonly known in microbes as conjugation. This was later adapted in unicellular protists. Most single-celled eukaryotes reproduce asexually with binary fusion, just like bacteria usually do. But some of them reproduce by sharing gametes, and this practice was continued in subsequent lines of plants and animals. As you mentioned, some plants reproduce sexually, but not all of them. And most animals reproduce sexually, but again, not all of them. And one of these days, I'm going to do a video on the oddities of some animal sex life, some of which is just so fucked up that that alone should be sufficient argument against there being any God. Seriously, some of that is really disturbing. For the moment, though.
Exactly, Brother Abdullah. Exactly. This guy, once again, YouTube's playing these games. They pop him up. I'm just playing this out of morbid curiosity. This guy uses his. Don't forget, he's not a doctor. He may have read reports and papers and studies, but he himself is not a doctor, as if that even matters. But he will not even acknowledge where all the matter of the universe, where did it come into existence from? This popped in here?
So, you should understand that even some vertebrates are able to switch from sexual to asexual reproduction and back again. There are advantages to both methods, but sexual reproduction dramatically accelerates evolution and increases resistance to infectious diseases. On rare occasions, even among normally sexually reproductive animals, there are virgin births. This is called parthenogenesis. This isn't one of the many natural examples of both genders being represented or expressed in a single individual, nor is there any instance of a male being born of a virgin. That never happened, because parthenogenic females essentially produce genetic clones of themselves without need of a male. For example, we have a species of parthenogenic lizards in New Mexico that are a species of asexual genetic clones. The New Mexico whiptail is an entirely female species which apparently uses a mock courtship ritual in order to instigate ovulation. So if you want to argue for an intelligent designer, you'll have to accept that he must like identical lesbian lizards simulating sex.
I would love, dude, that'd be an awesome debate. Have you against this top ramen guy. That would be awesome.
X.
Hummingbirds represent true creative genius. They weigh 1/14 of an ounce, and like helicopters.
But I think he only does that bird for like theatrical purposes. I think he has that I'm a devil worshiper vibe to try to intimidate people on certain levels.
Can fly forward, backward, sideways, or hover. Their flight mechanism is incredibly complex, and the quills in their feathers are stronger for their weight than any structure ever designed by man. These quills constantly change shape to adjust for wind and air pressure. The leading vein of their feather functions like a propeller for lift and propulsion. Think. 3/4 of their entire weight are wing muscles. They possess a kind of jet-assisted mechanism for landings and takeoffs. Air flows only one way into their lungs to bring a constant supply of oxygen for strenuous, high-speed flight. They also have retractable landing gear, a migration navigation system, streamlining, camouflage, and an extraordinary respiration system that stores extra air inside their hollow bones. This also provides buoyancy and an internal air conditioner. Hummingbirds must eat continually to satisfy their high metabolism. Stopping would mean death. Only through a kind of hibernation at night can they survive. Could all of this have evolved or just happened?
Of course!
The quills of a hummingbird's wing are so strong for their weight only because the whole bird weighs less than a penny. Of course, wind and pressure will change their shape, but there's no intent or design in that. If this was an intelligent design, then why is it so inefficient that they have to constantly eat or die? They don't have any jet-assisted mechanism, nor air conditioning either, nor do they have retractable landing gear. Those are legs, just like any other dinosaur has. You're trying to make it sound like a creation by describing it as if it were a machine, but
I gotta say that for the people who are not watching the chat room, this comes from Coach Abdullah. This is for spoon-fed people who are easily wooed by fast-talking, slick-tongued persons who throw some selective facts about science. Yes, polite is black version.
These are organisms that reproduce on their own and don't have to be built or designed. Hummingbirds do have hollow bones, though, just like all other birds. These and its feathers are two of the most obvious out of a suite of traits that put it in the dinosaur category. Now, I'm not just saying that birds are descended from dinosaurs. We now know that birds are dinosaurs, that they're still dinosaurs right now. Just like hummingbirds are a subset of birds, birds are a subset of dinosaurs. And I know you're thinking of dinosaurs and birds as if they were different biblical kinds, but the Bible is really vague and confused about that and doesn't have any authority anyway because it was written by ignorant primitives who define things by what they do rather than what they are. They put birds into multiple kinds of all sorts, whatever those are, and there's no definition for what any of this means because it doesn't mean anything. That's why the Bible describes bats as birds. The people who made up these myths didn't know anything about zoology or taxonomy. The avian respiration system is more efficient than the lungs we mammals have. It enables lightweight birds as well as pterosaurs sufficient energy for sustained flight, and it allowed some non-avian dinosaurs to grow to enormous sizes. Don't you wish we had such a good respiratory system as they do? That trait evolved within archosaurs, so we didn't get it. It's an inherited evolutionary trait, not an administrative decision, so there's no one to complain to about that. But if you believe in the power of prayer, give it a shot. You will fail.
Like bumblebees, which also appear to completely defy the laws of physics and flying ability, the hummingbird is just as unique, but even closer to aerodynamic perfection.
Brother Bird.
How hard is it to fly when you weigh less than 3 grams? I was always interested in science where no one else I met as a child cared for that at all. Instead, most people seemed to feel threatened by anything I understood as a boy. And they always tried to discredit science by saying that science says it's impossible for a bumblebee to fly. Turns out, not surprisingly, that's a lie. In 1934, French zoologist and aeronautical engineer Antoine Magnan remarked that it was impossible for any insect to fly. He didn't limit that to bumblebees. He made this outrageous claim because he didn't have high-speed photography, so he had no idea how insects' wings move. He foolishly assumed that they just flapped up and down. So he made the same mistake you did by assuming that if he doesn't understand it, then it isn't even possible, even though all the evidence necessary readily proves that it is possible and he didn't know what he's talking about. And neither do you.
Only God could have made such an efficient flying machine. No aeronautical engineer has ever designed anything close to this tiny marvel of flight.
Because I never try, because I don't need to. And because organisms are emergent cellular structures far more intricate than our macroscopic machines. But this is not due to any God. You still haven't shown.
Come on, yeah. He looks like he has a torture chamber. Come on. I mean, I'll be the first one to say that he has a unique look about him. All right. Creepy, druid-like, occult, definitely. But the thing about it, there's a lot of people who are wooed, and if you don't believe me, look how many subscribers homie has. 210,000 people think highly enough of him to subscribe. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why are you subscribed to him? True. Because I like to keep an eye on people that are obviously out here disseminating raunchy information. That's why. I want to keep an eye.
Shown what a God could or couldn't do, because you haven't even shown there is reason to believe such a thing. Nor have you contested any of the many reasons why you should accept and admit that God is only imaginary. You're living.
So people who are in touch with their feelings, people who are in touch with their spirituality, people who are in touch with their soul. Look, I could have grown up and never have been to one science school or whatever. But when I walk outside and I see the sun shining on my face, I know and naturally in my heart that's good. I know when the sun is out, I feel better. I can see things I can't see in the dark. I can see danger. I can see beauty. I can see all of this. So, what I'm ultimately saying, this guy is using the classic, oh, if you can't see it, it's not there. And that's such bullshit. Oh, no.
Hey, how's it going?
Living in a land of make-believe.
The anglerfish, archerfish, and anableps all literally swim in the face of evolution. The female angler has a lure hanging from an appendage on her nose. It attracts fish so she can strike and swallow them. The male does not have one because he never eats. Rather, he attaches himself to the female, allowing their bloodstreams to merge, thus feeding him. Evolutionists have no explanation for anglerfish.
Yes, we do, of course. This article talks about how an international team of marine biologists used genomic sequence analysis to trace the evolution of hundreds of separate species of anglerfish within dozens of different genera, emerging from 18 taxonomic families within 5 phylogenetic suborders. Using molecular clock Bayesian analysis of the divergence times indicates that subordinal diversifications within a particular parental lineage all occurred within a relatively short time period between 100 and 130 million years ago in the early to mid-Cretaceous. Phylogenetic data constructed a series of cladograms.
I will answer these questions. Evolution was his method of choice. This introduces a truly great question. Can Christians accept evolution? Is this compatible with the Bible and following Jesus Christ? What does the New Testament say? What did Christ say? I will answer these questions in detail following this series. Look for, can a Christian believe evolution? You will be shocked.
Whether God exists or not is irrelevant. Because either way, even if there really is a...
Brother Barry. No, sir. I want to say a statement, Why all the anti-science? So we have to be stupid to be black? Okay, for one, those are not synonymous. To suggest that stupidity equals black in itself is wrong. And to suggest that having knowledge of science and somehow you're not stupid, that's also equally wrong. And I say this not to you're not saying that. Then what are you saying, brother? Why? I'm saying, why yell anti-science? So we have to be stupid to be black? I mean, how other can you say it? No one's anti-science. This guy's an atheist. He's anti-spiritual. He's merely using science to promote you separating from your spiritual self. To me, that's relatively stupid. That's what we're demonstrating here. Without science, Brother Barry, we would not even be having this conversation right now. It's all tied. He hasn't said anything false. What do you mean he hasn't said anything false? He said a great deal that is false. Okay, let me ask you, brother. Brother Barry, do you think God is fake or do you think God is real? And then I'm going to speed through this guy because I know that, Brother Nick, I know you have an eye on the sky report. And hopefully you got a new sky in the eye report. But no, brother, Barry, science applied correctly is a useful tool. When we use science to promote more consciousness, more spirituality, more love for the Creator, that's a beautiful thing. But when you take science and try to distort it as if it is in itself is the only truth, only tangible concepts to utilize in this 3 dimension that we call life, that's terribly short-sighted. And I think it opens up one to do great atrocities against fellow human beings, such as the Tuskegee experiments, where we had scientists openly infecting unknown melanated men and women without their knowledge. When we look at experiments on Plum Island, just so happens to be the focal point of Lyme disease, a tick-borne illness that the Nazi doctors that were spirited away from Germany after World War II during Operation Paperclip and several others set up shop and continuing their research into tick-borne illnesses. So yes, science has done some horrible atrocities. And when you really look at it, if it wasn't for people of faith providing safe regions for scientists to do their experimentations or to do their research, then we wouldn't be enjoying the level of technology we have today. I'm not saying that it came by way of science in itself, because every scientist that actually made a breakthrough that was tangible enough to be taught or teach to others, students or whatnot, they were all inspired. And where do you think this genius or intellectual inspiration comes from? It doesn't come from the individual. It comes from the source. It comes from God. It comes from the divine nature of God and his divine plan for humanity as a whole. It's going to be very obvious what I'm trying to tell you in the near future when you find that the people who are going to lay ravage to this earth are the same scientists that you love and respect. You know, Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. I forget the name of the father of the first biological anthrax weapon, the father of the smallpox weapon, the father of the gay bomb, the father of the MOAD, the father of, we just can go right on down the list. Not to mention the scientists that worked for Merck, that developed vaccines that were known to also inject cancer into the patient. And don't forget, the doctor ain't tripping because he's immune to lawsuits. So keep on playing your game, Barry. Keep on playing your game.
The God, evolution is still a verifiable fact, and the Bible is still man-made mythology and clearly wrong. So the only way any reasonable person could believe in God is if they allow that he had let the earth bring forth living creatures instead of conjuring separate creations out of nothing, because we know that didn't happen.
The facts of science led 2 world-famous scientists to see an intelligent designer behind the complexity of the universe. The brilliant Albert Einstein admitted, "Everyone who is seriously involved in the pursuit of science becomes convinced that some spirit is manifest in the laws of the universe, one that is vastly superior to that of man. In this way, the pursuit of science leads to a religious feeling of a special sort," he said.
Einstein also said, "It was, of course, a lie, what you read about my religious convictions, a lie which is being systematically repeated. I do not believe in a personal God and have never denied this, but have expressed it clearly. If something is in me which can be called religious, then it is the unbounded admiration for the structure of the world so far as our science can reveal it. I have never talked to a Jesuit priest in my life, and I'm astonished by the audacity to tell such lies about me. From the viewpoint of a Jesuit priest, I am, of course, and always have been, an atheist. I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the lawful harmony of the world, not in a God who concerns himself with the fate and the doings of mankind."
I'm sorry, Yao. I posted the link to this video. Stop it. This guy, I've done several series on him already. I have respect for all human beings. I have respect for all life. And that respect is in part because I recognize just how much time and consideration it took to make each and every one of you. Your mother and father had to lay together, their mother and father, going all the way back to the beginning. Now you can believe, Barry, and I'm not picking on you, Barry. I want you to know this, brother. I'm not picking on you. Actually, welcome to the show. I am actually honored that you have the guts to actually comment and share your thoughts. And for that, I respect you and I appreciate you and I'm thankful. Atheism can't be proven. Nothing can or should be proven by outside of self. You should know this to be true for yourself. You should know it to be true. I don't have to tell you, Barry, to breathe. You do this naturally without even thinking about it. No one has to tell you to see the different colors on the screen, different shapes. You understand these things. It's natural. Brother Nick, I'm going to your channel, brother, and we're going to take one of your eye from the sky reports. And I'm going to be wrapping this thing down. It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm extremely tired. Let's go to Brother Nick's spot. See, I like it because on my YouTube channel, you can go to, this is what I want to share. You can go to the community tab, and there's actually, we do a lot of community stuff. You know. So we try to share one another and get out information. So let's check out Brother Nick. Eye in the Sky Report.
Peace, love and light, my star family. It's just another video update for my channel. You know, here I have a medicine wheel along with my pyramid, the medicine wheel being at the base. And here we have just more constructions of just 4 branches that I got and broke, wrapped it around some with vine and twine. And I connected each point with this metal bar that I just found. Just being creative, you know, being nice. But for the most part, I've noticed a lot of like energy changes in the area so far. A lot of planes are spraying over here, but it's quite clear. Somewhat, the sunlight's out. The sun is out, but you see a lot of mist up here.
Yep.
A lot of mist over here. But then here we have right here just the construction of the first stages right here. So far, this is stage 1 of my build. Many more to come. I'm going to add crystals. I'm going to add pyramids. Not more pyramids, but organite around it. Organite pods. I'm going to add just a lot more stuff. You know, especially like the crystals at the top of the pyramid itself. I'll add those right here at the very tip points. Trust me, there will be more and more of these to come. I plan on making a whole grid field over my whole backyard. Just a whole bunch of them. Some made out of twigs and branches. Some made out of 4x4, 2x4s, cut at 45-degree angles and everything else. But so far, it's coming together pretty good. The designs and everything, you can see it's pretty nice, pretty cool, everything else. But, you know, like I said, my family, like I said, just keep building and keep constructing our old energy towers, our old devices that create free energy around the whole environment, not just for you, but the whole environment. Because guess what? Mother Nature works for everyone, not just for you and me, but for everyone else, as well as keeping balance. So we need balance, though. So I'm making 4 or 5 of these in the near future. I will update you guys all because I'm still getting more material. A lot of the material I already had just laying around, so natural materials that is already around. But for the most part,
I like that. Hold on. I'm going to let this play out, but I like that build. Now, Brother Nick, the lashing around the top that forms a pyramid, is that made of rope or can you use wire? Or would wire, I mean, I know you don't have no metal in this build. I'm just asking, would metal would it not be appropriate medium to use? You have to use wood, I guess, some sort of rope, and obviously, I don't know if those are sandstones, vines, and copper wire. Okay, so I can use wire because I want to build one of these myself. I really do. I have I think one day this week I'll show you. Outside, there's like this old rock I found, and it has crystals in it all throughout it. These white, beautiful white crystals. Well, I'm going to take my Dremel and very carefully remove the white stuff and use those crystals in my build. Copper wire and wood and rose quartz stones. Can I use sandstones at the bottom? Or sandstones with a little quartz in it? You can see the quartz when you break the sandstone and hold it up to the sunlight. You can see the glitter. Would that be appropriate for the base? Because it almost looks like you're building a black stones and sands. Okay, cool. It almost looks like you're building, the winter solstice, kind of up there. Oh my God, at the oh my God, I don't know why it's slipping my tongue now. In Europe, in England, Stonehenge, kind of like in Stonehenge, how the circular pattern that you have, it has the west, or probably the south, the north, the east, and the west. Do you have to orientate will it affect the device if this is not lined up with true north with your compass? Or you know what I'm saying? How are you designing the crossroads there? 4 red in the center, 4 black outer center, and the rest regular. Make a great tripod. That is essentially a tripod, Brother Barry. And that's where your crystal. Just think if you had a crystal big enough to fill that whole space right there. All right, let's continue.
Mark, I love y'all. Peace, love, and light, my star family.
Many crystals, yeah. Hold on, let me get this rock I'm talking. Hold on 1 second. Here, I'm gonna let this play. I'm gonna be right back, brother. I'm back. Hold on, let me put this turn this light on so you can see. I got a rock. It's like this is the type of crystal I'm working with. Hold on. Let me try to. Hold on, I gotta do a couple of things. One, fix that. Then I'm going to have to manually. It almost looks like a tooth. Hold on. There we go. All right. See how this rock is different from here? And then when you get up into the crystals, I tell you, it's really beautiful in the sunlight. But I got a rock about as big as like the CD, DVD thing. A little bit bigger, but it's filled with crystals like this one right here. So I think it's beautiful. And I've had this rock here for about going on 12 years. Never really polished it or nothing. But look at all that stuff in there. And I found this in the creek bed in the backyard. A lot of crystals and stuff. Even has some little dark chunks in it. Alright. But yeah, that's the crystal I'm going to use for my device. There we go. I have wild sage. I have sage growing in my garden. I know it is beautiful. I tell you what, brother. When I break up the other rocks and I get more of these, I will throw them in an envelope and I will send you out some. I'll get your address. You just email me your address and I'll send you out some. Dang. Anyhow, like I said, I got a huge rock full of it. I don't know where I'm at and why am I seeing all this strange writing. Dang, Callaway. Hold on. I got a few more moments. I want to go out with some wise words from Brother Abdullah. Welcome to Performance Training with Coach Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm here with a Ramadan reminder. So, yesterday I talked about how there is a clear message, entertainment and media, so on and so forth, in which they have belittled or made easy the concept of death. And, made fun and made it jokingly the concept of going to hell. So I want to build on that and look at it maybe more in a broader perspective, which is we are living in I could say, since I have the age, I say this a lot. The paradigm shift, in my opinion, came post 9/11, and just in which society was inundated with information, good information, bad information, false information. And now we've come to a point that everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people on those avenues and those media outlets have created shortcuts to life. And they're really not shortcuts. And you see, along with these shortcuts are people redefining things. Redefining, as it relates to Muslims, I mean, you have tons of people who have regurgitated, repackaged, rewind, instant replayed, remixed, whatever you want to say, some aspect of religion. Repackaged it and made it sweet just for you. Oh, what's this? And so you find people that all of a sudden having these strange ideas, or they say, hey, you should look at this guy's videos. This is very dangerous. I've seen it. Several people have sent these videos to me. And if you're not grounded in your belief system, these Johnny-come-latelys, are going to confuse you and mislead you. Possibly steal your money and your soul. So just understand that there is a lot of deception in this time. It's coming in the form of new information, or it's coming in the form of entertainment. It's coming in the form of a new gadget. Just be careful. Everything that's new isn't good. Everything that's for sale. So, and also, we have to understand that generations need not to be at odds with each other. That generations need to benefit from each other. For example, my generation, I remember when there was no PlayStation, Atari, and all that. The first video game I remember was Pong. No cellular phones. You know, you had to be an ultra rich person to have a phone in your car, and it was just like a house phone. You know, I grew up in a time where there was no cable television. You had, the local network, television network. Versus now, you have kids that are born into this digital world. Their thinking process and their perspective on life is going to be very much different. So these two generations need to benefit each other instead of not understand each other. And any young person that has the ability to tap into a person from my generation, you need to, because we've seen it all. We've seen the world you were born into, and we've seen the world before it. So that's all I have to say today. Performance Training with Coach Abdullah. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Righteous. See, that's what we be talking about on this show. We bring perspectives that you're not going to hear. We bring information that you're not going to readily get access to. And we bring on guests. We bring on guests that have expertise. I mean, check out the channel. You know, all the big names, most of them are there. Interviewed by yours truly from our Missouri studios. You know, this show has started out as a very simple ideal, but it has mushroomed and ballooned into a public think tank of sorts. We have people from all over the world watching, contributing, tuning in. We are here to make a difference, a righteous difference, not the same old knocking our heads against the wall, expecting different results, but something that's going to be tangible and all is going to see. Well, this will conclude TPIM. That's our live for tonight, y'all. Thank you for joining me. I remember how it felt before this technology. Yes, we didn't have all the way. Brother Bird, the next TPIM, as long as you give me the okay, I want to start off with one of your videos in the next broadcast. I want to share your channel with the world. I want to share what you're talking about with others because I think it's insightful. But with that being said, y'all, peace, Brother Bishop. With that being said, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power, brothers and sisters. I'm out.